listen to this real quick, and then you'll hear my opinion.
So what's something that you feel like you took for granted at a young age? They gotta be
Family
some.
parties.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I still had a great time and I loved it, but I wish I would have known that, like, damn. I wish I would have known that, like,
It's okay.
life changes. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and like, I was really lucky that my mom is the youngest of 11. And a lot of the family, my mom's side, a lot of the family came over to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of my cousins are there. And because she's the youngest of 11, by default, I'm the youngest of my generation of cousins.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a lot of like me tagging around and being the youngest. When my parents moved west and we had the crib, it was like that was the house that we would party at. So I have a lot of memories of family parties of like cousins coming over and montón de aguardiente and my tías and my mom upstairs haciendo pan de bonos y tamales, you know, gozando hasta las 10 de la mañana with my dad's new stereo.
Yeah.
Just like, just, it's not even, I don't think I took it for granted because I was a child. So by default, when you're a child, you're more present, you know? But it would have been nice to, I just didn't know that it was going to change. Because you get used to that and you think, my cousins are never going to move away.
Yeah.
We're going to be like this forever. And then all of a sudden people are adults and all of a sudden people are married and all of a sudden people are moving across the country. And it's like, damn, but at least we have the memory.
Good morning, lovely people. I just had a thought that crossed my mind after a TikTok that I watched. And, I mean, I'm trying to really get the idea as to, like, how come, you know, our parents kind of got together every other weekend and all the cousins hung out. And then we got older, and that doesn't mean that our friendships have diminished or, like, they're not just as great. But I was trying to think, like, you know, sometimes moving to another country kind of puts a little something in the twist of things. And I was looking or thinking in my mind, like, why or what kind of made it happen. One, yes, because they all worked. They all worked. So there's no difference us as grown-ups. We are working, and life has changed for us. But I think what has changed for us is that I think when they came over or migrated over, and they didn't have a lot of means, but means enough to, like, you know, have a home, buy some things, have food, you know, they had those kind of means, and family is just a little bit more closer together. Yeah, sometimes they would bicker, fight, and bring up old shit, but I'm trying to think about, like, my generation. How come we don't? But it's not that we don't, we do, and it's limited. Because you know why? Because our families have grown to different types of families, and we've added people on. So there's like so many events that go on throughout the year that it limits our interaction. And it's kind of like priority-wise, but it doesn't mean that like one is lesser than the other. It just means that it's just an addition. And I guess like what I mean by that is like a lot of us have acquired friends as family and extra extensions into the family by, let it be friends, married in, and or other siblings, different, how many children you got, what type of events you're doing, and if you have 10 to 20 kids, like, what are you doing for each of them? On top of, everyone lived 10, 15 minutes away. Like, nobody lived 45 minutes away. And then now as we've got older, these generations, we've gotten older, people have migrated to other parts of either the state and or the country. So I guess I'm just here to like add a little piece into that is, you know, this is why I love for my kids to be exposed, experience the family life. And sometimes I wish I had some of those things that we had as kids, because I feel like the kids need that. I mean, we needed it. And we loved it so much that we thought that it was going to drag on. But then little rifts happen between the adults, because we're not the adults, we're the kids, right? But now we are the adults. So, and relationships are way better than theirs, at least on my family. And, I mean, even though they have good relationships, I'm not saying that it's like garbage or nothing, but back in the day, that's when they were a little bit feistier, a little bit grumpier, a little bit hurt by all kinds of things. And, but I miss that, and I wish my kids could have more of that, at least, you know, once a month. I would like that, once a month. Is that too much to ask? I think it is, especially with life being so busy. But I totally understand it, and I totally accept it, but I miss it. And even though my kids only have bits and moments, I still appreciate those for them too, and I hope that they one day also will look back and say, I loved it when we had those days. And they keep the connections alive with their cousins.